Hi guys, it's been a while since I've done a live, so thanks for joining. I hope this video is really beneficial. The reason I wanted to do this, I've had a lot of parents contacting me recently, kids with anxiety, kids that struggle because they need to be perfect. There's a few things that I think we need to be really aware of. I put in the title Sad Kid or Teflon Kid. I've got one of each, and I think most of us do if you have two or more. So with kids that tend to have a lot of anxious feelings or even just seem really sad and down on themselves, we need to remember that we're energetic beings. If you look at the website Heart Map, it talks a lot about, heart energy and how they can measure it as meters from the body. They can measure the electrical field, the energy field from our heart. So if you put that into context, every child that's in your realm of reality is going to be connecting with your heart energy, with the people around them. So, hi Beth. So we have a lot of kids who are really feeling that. And the interesting thing was my second, we called the Teflon Kid for a while because nothing seemed to interrupt the process. Like there could be stress or sadness or all sorts of stuff going on around, and he'd be like, so when was lunch? But what I came to realize was there are outwardly expressing and then there are inwardly expressing. So in fact, those kids can be really, really sensitive, but they internalize it all, or they shut off and pretend it's not even happening. So they'll just not even want to register the reality that they're in. And the other ones that are outwardly expressing, we go, oh, they're so painful, they're so emotional, they're so over the top. Why is everything a drama? But it's almost in a good way because at least you know what's going on with those ones. And it's about teaching them, giving them the tools to disconnect themselves from whatever energy they're connecting with around them. So it's there's a really great book called Raising Gifted Kids, I think it is. I'll have to check the title for you. But it talks about gifted. Someone told me that one of my children was gifted, and I just sort of raised an eyebrow and went, that's just another label. But when I found this book, I thought it was really interesting because he talks about giftedness from a lot of different angles. So he talks about, rather than giftedness, he talks about sensitivities. And he says that while you can have it in an intellectual sense and be very gifted in that way, but you can also be very physically sensitive, so sensitive to touch. You can be very emotionally sensitive, and you can be very, there was a few others. Sorry, I've completely forgotten. But it's a really good book. I will find it and put it in the comments. So I think these tools just allow us to understand what's going on behind the scenes with these kids, and then we can teach them how to protect their energy, how to disconnect from what's happening around them, and how to have those conversations, because they are actually a lot more aware than what we realize. If you have a conversation with them and ask the right questions, you will start to find out a lot of stuff you didn't realize they were already aware of, particularly when it comes to feeling other people's emotions and things like that. That's not a conversation we think to have with a 5-year-old. But if you start to have those conversations, you'll find they know an awful lot more than we realize. Some kids will see emotions in colors, and some kids, there's a lot of different things that they are seeing and feeling. There's another great book that I've heard of that I haven't found yet, but it talks about the 100 languages of children. And it explains how children feel and express and experience things in 100 different ways, 100 different languages that they experience the world when they are born. And then we teach them the one that they have to learn to survive in this world, in this life, in this society. So we narrow down and we pare down everything that they're aware of and they're feeling and they're emoting down to the one language that they're allowed to express to be part of our society. So it's a really great way to understand that when you're not all in the headspace, like adults are all about thinking and planning and doing, kids aren't. Kids are in the moment and they're feeling and they're sensing and they're expressing, probably through a tantrum or who knows. But so they have a whole different way that they perceive the world that most adults have shut down. And so we need to start to have those conversations to find out what those other 99 languages that we've lost are. And I don't even begin to assume that I know all of this stuff, but it's just by asking some of the right questions, I discovered that my kids were aware of so much more than I realized. So it's really, I come across a lot of people who, if they have two children, they have two that sound exactly like mine. And I have one that very outwardly expresses and is very emotionally sensitive. And the other one is that looks like the Teflon kid, but most of the time just blocks out anything that they're too sensitive to feel or they don't want to address. They just pretend it's not even happening. So you need to sort of explore that with them and find ways that you can help them connect with what's going on for them and then disconnect from everyone else that might be overwhelming them or impacting them at that time. And I'm happy to share some tools on that in another live or perhaps in a workshop. I have done a workshop on anxious and emotional kids in the past, so it might be one that we need to revisit because it comes up a lot in this day and age. But I just thought I'd share that because I haven't said hello for a while and I've been working with a lot of these children lately. So stay tuned for more tips and strategies on these kids as we try and learn how to parent a whole new generation. Who signed up for this, huh? All right, take care. Have an awesome week.